Welcome to the JusMusic Podcast. I am your host, Jalen.
And I'm your other host, Marco.
And we have a really cool guest for this episode. This guy, he has been doing some really great things here in the Charleston music scene, and we're very happy to have him on. It's an honor, truly. He is the director of Charleston Music Hall and Music Farm. He is a big music head, fan of music, and he is just doing his part and making sure that the music scene in Charleston stays alive and stays exciting. Charles Carmody, how you doing, sir? Did I pronounce your last name right?
You did a great job. Yeah, that's
Okay,
right.
perfect.
Yeah.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. I remember. So you and I met. So to provide context, I first saw you and heard you speak because you did a presentation or a talk for my one of my arts management classes when I was at College of Charleston. I think it was
Yeah.
with my teacher at the time, Heather McDonald.
Yeah.
I think you did a presentation for one of her classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you probably remember. So that's where I actually first met you, but then we actually met in person and shook hands. It was at a Creative Mornings Charleston event, and this
Yeah.
was the Halsey
Halsey one. Yep.
downtown. And I remember we exchanged words and exchanged contact information, and I was like, yeah, we should definitely get Charles on the podcast. And so here we are. So yeah. But let's just get into it, man. So tell the people, where you're from, what brought you to Charleston, and how you ended up becoming the director of Charleston Music Hall.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually from Charleston. Local native, born and raised, grew up in Mount Pleasant. And went to a music school right out of high school up in Canada, up in New Brunswick, Canada, and did a year there, and it was amazing. It was amazing, but it was too cold, so I came back. I came back to CFC. Um, had no idea what I wanted to do. This was 2008, 2007, 2008. So tried like every major. Arts management was not had just started, I think. Like I don't think I could even, it wasn't an option for me. So I was an English major. But in college, I played music. I played music growing up. Was in a band, recorded an album in high school, which it's, oh man, it's not good, but we did it. We recorded a full album, sold CDs, made the money back for recording it. That whole thing. And I really loved playing music, but in college, I got this idea to do this event called Bean Night. I lived on Spring Street, kind of near where like the Veggie Bin is now. And every Tuesday night, we would do this thing called Bean Night. We cook a giant pot of beans and rice. We built a stage in our backyard, and we'd have basically open mic night. And there was like 6 of us living in the house. It was like a really great community, and Bean Night grew and grew and grew to like, we were doing like 100 people every Tuesday night. It was every Tuesday night. And started touring bands, started to hear about it. They started coming through. We started making it more curated. And that's when the spark of like, oh man, like I really love putting on events and like creating space for artists to gather and to create, basically. Like, that's what I think I'm really good at, more so than actually playing music.
What instrument did you play?
Guitar primarily, but then I picked up like mandolin and banjo, and then I had like my old time phase where I got into the fiddle and all that stuff.
Nice.
um, so yeah, so Bean Night was like the beginning, and then we moved it to Kudu, and we were doing like the Kudu Courtyard for a while, and was also then I graduated college. I'm working at Mellow Mushroom. I was an English major. I have no idea what I want to do still. And I ended up getting a meeting. I was just trying to meet with whoever, just trying to figure out what the heck I was supposed to do. I didn't think I did not want to be in Charleston. I moved to Seattle for like 4 months. That didn't work. Came back. And I got a meeting with this guy, Mike Bennett, who owns a bunch of hotels in town.
Yes.
Hotel Bennett being the newest one, right? But
Must be
back,
like richest men in Charleston, if not the richest.
yeah, he, self-made. His story is wild. But got a meeting with him just to talk about, what the heck the job market looked like in Charleston. In that meeting, he mentioned I was 22 at the time. In that meeting, he mentioned he owned the Charleston Music Hall, and it was like bing, boom, 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 boom. Oh, whoa, that's amazing. This again, 2012. It was pretty much closed at the time. Like they were doing rental only. Like you could rent it, but there was no ticketing. There was no staff. Go figure out how to turn on the lights, kind of thing. Um, and I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, like that's can we talk about that? And he's like, no, it never made me any money. It opened in 93. I don't know what to do with it. But I was hooked. So I went home and I typed up a business proposal. And I just and what made sense in my brain, booking, marketing, managing, and operations. And I pretty much spelled out what I would do if he let me work there, let me run it. Mailed it to him, was like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe I hear back from this guy, I don't know, whatever. He called me maybe like a month later. So I got your proposal. This is really good. Come in and talk to me. I says, okay. So I go in, talk to him, and he was impressed. He really the music hall was built in 93 as the driver for business to his other establishments. So his goal was like you have entertainment and they stay at the Hampton Inn. Rue de Jean used to be called Hula Hands. They eat at Hula Hands and you capture your audience right there, right? That was the goal. He's like, I still think that could happen. So yeah, go do it. I'll pay you $20,000 a year to go be the director of the music hall. At the time, I was like, "Oh yeah, sucker! I do this for free." So yeah, no, I'm in. So for the first 6 months, I didn't realize how much that actually was after taxes, and so I was the director of the hall during the day, and I would go be a server's assistant at Rue de Jean at night, so that I could pay my rent. But I got my foot in the door. I mean, he literally said, I don't know where the key is. Go find the key and go see what you can do. That was the extent of direction I was given. So I just started showing up. I go every day, sit in that building and slowly started chipping away at it.
Wow. That's very inspiring. One, it's funny. How you were the director of Charleston Music Hall making $20,000 a year. Compare that to making $20,000 now in this economy, be pretty crazy. But hearing you explain, your journey through music and how you got to where you are now, it was very much it sounds like a journey of self-discovery, a journey of taking risk, and a journey of not being afraid to take those risks and just see what could be on the other side of whatever it is that you continue to think about or dream about or have a passion for. And that's really inspiring, because if you think back to then, 2012 Charleston Music Hall, or just, the state of the country period, that was still recession time, right? So and then
coming out of it,
yeah, very much coming out of it. So very much at a point in time where the Charleston Music Hall, they didn't necessarily have a